It started at a dinner party, her promotion dinner. 30 people, candlelit tables, soft jazz looping in the background, clinking glasses. Polished smiles everywhere. I was at her side, the loyal husband, hand on her back like a placeholder. But I already felt the distance. I just didn't realize how public the humiliation would be. Someone made a joke about anniversaries. She laughed and said, "Well, he knows not to expect anything in bed anymore." The table cracked up. I didn't. I looked across at her best friend, Casey. She didn't laugh. She just stared at her wine, swirled it once, then glanced at me. Later that night, while the others were busy toasting, Casey leaned in. Her breath smelled like Cabernet. She whispered, "She doesn't treat him like that." She meant her boyfriend. She meant what I already knew. I didn't react. Not then. Not when I helped clean up. Not when I carried her heels while she stumbled barefoot into our apartment. But inside, I was already flipping switches. 2 days later, I started looking at our finances. I'd always been the "don't worry, I trust you" type. That stopped. The first thing I noticed was the Venmo transfers, small, inconsistent, like she was hiding them. Dog sitting, one said. We didn't have a dog. Another said, nails, but she had those done at her regular salon. I called them. They hadn't seen her in 3 months. Then I checked the shared credit card. Hotel charges in the middle of the day. Restaurants I'd never been to. One night, she came home late from work drinks. I stayed up, feigned sleep. She peeled off her coat in the dark, reeked of perfume that wasn't hers, makeup smudged. I could hear her humming. Happy. I waited 2 weeks before checking her iPad. It was synced with her phone. She forgot that. Messages to someone saved as D. I clicked. It wasn't platonic. You're the only one who makes me feel anything. Wish I could just stay in your arms tonight. Bed's so cold without you. I kept scrolling. Voice notes. Photos. One video. I didn't watch it. Didn't need to. The text under it said enough. God, I love how you take me. I copied everything. Screenshots. Timestamps. Chat backups. Then I forwarded them to a hidden cloud account. I printed key pieces. Found them. Labeled the file closure. Then I went back to pretending. Breakfast as usual. Kisses on the cheek. We even hosted her parents for brunch. I smiled through the whole thing. They called me the calm one. I always was. Then I made an appointment. Casey had a quiet cafe she liked. I texted her. Need to talk. Just you. She didn't look surprised when I arrived. She already knew something. Maybe she knew more than she ever let on. I slid the envelope across the table. It's all in there, I said. You're the only one I trust with it, for now. She opened it. No gasp. Just a slow, deliberate flipping of the pages. Then she said, "How long have you known?" I told her. Her fingers trembled. Not for me. For herself. I knew she was unhappy, she said. But this? She lied to both of us. That last part stuck with me. Both of us. I asked her what she meant, but she didn't answer. Just sipped her coffee and said, "She's been using you. You deserve better." I didn't respond. I wasn't there for comfort. I went home that night and did nothing. No confrontation. No outburst. I wanted her to keep thinking she was in control. 3 days later, I had dinner with a lawyer. A quiet man. Mid-50s. No social media presence. Came recommended by a friend of mine who dealt with a messy merger and wanted it clean. We met in a private booth. I laid out everything. He didn't flinch. Just asked questions. Do you want this public? No. Do you want revenge? I want control. He nodded like he'd heard it before. Then we do this clean. You pull financials first. Start moving assets. Liquidate quietly. She won't see it. And I didn't waste time. I changed beneficiaries. Revised the will. Moved accounts into trusts. Unlinked cards. Every document signed while she was at yoga or dinner with friends. I'd even started recording phone calls. Not illegal, not where I lived. I kept my tone even, cheerful. So did she. Then came the final step, the apartment. Technically, we both owned it. But she didn't know I'd already made a silent offer on the unit next door. The owners were elderly. They wanted out. I gave them 30% over market to close in 48 hours. She didn't notice. She never paid attention to details. One night, she said she had a weekend retreat with coworkers. Wellness thing, she called it. I smiled. Kissed her goodbye at the elevator. 2 hours later, I entered the hotel lobby she'd mentioned by mistake the week before. Room 614. I waited in the hall until they were inside. I knocked. She opened the door in a robe. Not hers. When she saw me, her face went slack. The man behind her, D, was shirtless, confused. "Who is this?" he asked. She couldn't speak. I didn't yell. I didn't step inside. I just held up my phone. "This is the moment I needed. Thanks." Then I turned, walked away, and that's when I knew. It wasn't pain anymore. It was precision. She came home Sunday night like nothing happened. Hair still damp from the hotel shower, eyes dull. I was already packed. Just one bag, enough to walk out clean. She dropped her keys in the bowl by the door, kicked off her shoes. "Hey," she said, like we hadn't locked eyes outside room 614. Like I hadn't just watched her lover scurry to the bathroom, humiliated and exposed. I didn't answer, just sat on the couch, laptop open. She stared for a second too long, then walked toward the bedroom. "You okay?" she asked, voice light, but her shoulders tense. "You've been quiet." Still, I said nothing. Not until she was halfway down the hall. "Leave your ring on the table before you go," I said. She froze. When she turned, her smile was gone. "What?" "You heard me." She came back slowly, arms crossed. "We're not doing this. Not like this." "You're right," I said. "We should have done this the moment you stopped pretending." She looked at my bag, then the folder on the table, the one she never noticed before. She picked it up, opened it, and as her eyes scanned the contents, screenshots, messages, timestamps, bank statements, her breath hitched. "Where did you get all this?" "I never stopped watching," I said. She sat down across from me. "You went through my stuff?" "No," I said. "I collected evidence." Her voice hardened. "This is invasion of privacy." "No, this is insurance." She opened her mouth to protest, then closed it. For the first time, she knew she had no leverage. "You were never going to tell me, were you?" I asked. Her silence was the answer. Then, as if on cue, the buzzer rang. A courier. She looked confused. I signed the form, took the envelope, and handed it to her. She opened it. Inside, the divorce papers. Already signed. Already filed. Her face drained of color. "You think I'll just agree to this?" I leaned in, cold and calm. "You already did. Vegas. Post-nup. You were drunk, remember? You signed everything." Her jaw tightened. "You tricked me." "No. I protected myself." She stood up, pacing. "What about the apartment? The accounts?" "All mine," I said. "Yours?" "Nothing that wasn't already in your name. You'll get the car. And the wardrobe. Maybe a fraction of the art, whatever you personally paid for." She laughed, but it was hollow. "You're not serious." I reached into my jacket and handed her the second envelope. A list of assets, reassignments, transfers. All done legally, quietly. All within the last 30 days. She dropped it like it burned. "You were never just cheating," I said. "You were replacing me. Slowly. Like I wouldn't notice. Like I'd just keep being the quiet one." She sat down again, suddenly smaller. "I didn't mean for it to happen. Don't insult me with that." I stood, grabbed my bag, and headed for the door. She rushed after me, tears starting now. Too late, too useless. "Please, can we talk?" I opened the door. "No, but you and HR might." "HR?" she repeated. I didn't answer. I was already walking down the hall. The next morning, I sent the package to her office. A detailed account of her behavior, photos, and the complaint I'd filed. Her company had a strict ethics clause. She was sleeping with a client. Her position? Unstable. Later that week, I met Casey again. Same cafe. Same seat. She didn't ask questions this time. She just said, "I heard." She lost the promotion? She's on leave. Might not come back. I nodded. Good. Casey tilted her head. "What are you going to do now?" "Already moved out," I said. "Got a place near the harbor. Quiet." She hesitated, then asked, "You know she used to say I was jealous of you?" I looked up. "She said you were too good to be true. That no man is that kind. That eventually you'd mess up." I didn't respond. "She projected a lot," Casey added. "But for what it's worth, I never pitied you." "I never needed pity," I said. "Just the truth." She smiled. "Well, you got that. And then some." As I left the cafe, phone buzzing with emails and congratulations, from friends who'd seen the divorce announcement, from investors who'd admired the calm with which I handled it, I realized something. It wasn't the betrayal that broke me. It was the assumption that I wouldn't fight back. The news broke 3 days later. Not tabloid gossip, something cleaner, colder. A formal memo leaked from her firm. Effective immediately, Miranda Cole has been placed on indefinite suspension pending internal review. The HR rep I'd spoken to hadn't wasted time. The ethics violation was undeniable. A married partner entangled with a client? The board didn't blink. I didn't celebrate. Just forwarded the article to Casey with a short note. Closure. Then I turned off my phone for 2 days. When I turned it back on, the messages were stacked. Miranda, her sister, even her lawyer. Threats, appeals, accusations. All noise. I let my attorney handle it. He responded with facts, paperwork, timestamps. No drama. No emotion. The kind of precision she never saw coming. Then came the final move. The boutique. Her passion project. A trendy, overpriced storefront downtown that I'd quietly funded through a shell company 2 years prior. She thought it was a silent investor. She even bragged to friends that she'd brought him in through her charm and business savvy. She didn't know I owned 60%. She didn't know I had final say on all operating capital. I met with the other 2 partners over breakfast. They didn't ask questions when I presented the numbers. Her mismanagement, the dip in revenue, the commingling of personal expenses with business funds. We dissolve her position, I said, or we pull out. They voted. Unanimous. She was removed from the company by the end of the week. Severance denied. All within clause. All airtight. By the time her lawyer realized the full scope of the collapse, it was already done. Credit frozen. Lease terminated. Reputation gutted. She showed up at my new place once. Uninvited. Middle of the night. Knocked like a desperate memory. I didn't answer. I just watched through the peephole as she stood there, wrapped in a coat too thin for the rain, mascara bleeding. She didn't cry. Not this time. She just looked around, like maybe she'd recognized something that used to belong to her. But nothing did. Not anymore. She left after 6 minutes. That was the last time I saw her. Casey and I never dated. People asked. We shared drinks once in a while. Talked. But I wasn't looking to replace anyone. I wasn't rebuilding. I was reclaiming. I sold my stake in the boutique 2 months later. Invested in 2 biotech startups. One of them IPO'd the following year. I bought a place by the coast. Quiet. Clean. No memories soaked into the walls. Sometimes people ask what I regret. I tell them I regret nothing. I loved someone who treated love like a transaction. I forgave longer than I should have. I tolerated what should have been confronted. But I didn't lose. I learned. She thought I was the quiet one. The easy one. The placeholder. But she forgot something critical. Still water isn't weak. It's patient. And when it moves with force. The woman who once laughed at me across a dinner table now reads articles about how her investor built a tech empire out of nothing. She probably tells people she knew me when. That we were complicated. But the truth is simple. She treated me like I was disposable. So I erased her, legally, quietly, completely. No rage. No scandal. Just strategy. Just silence. And silence, when sharpened long enough, becomes the cleanest cut of all.